You are listening to a piece of the Salasin.10 podcast area.
So this week is going to be a fasting month and we'll start everything, so that's why we can employ it forward as well. That's one reason. I hope Monday doesn't stop many of you coming as well, so I assume it's a good thing as well. So yeah, this is first event KLJS for you. Last one we had was September. And we're going to do more often. We're trying to do more often as well. I'm going to talk about it later on about that and see how we can do more events and getting more speakers as well. So if you're interested in speakers, reach out to me. For venue, if you want to work for venue and all of that, feel free to as well. So yeah, there are more people coming. It's more chairs if you want to come inside. There's a link there as well. If you want still have enough chairs, you grab any of chairs on the side. So yeah. Okay, just going to give like 30 seconds for that. Like 1, 2, 3. The meetup is actually the best seat, by the way. So yeah. And just a bit of precaution of the COVID precaution. So basically, like they say it's COVID now, it's like a normal flu and everything. But if you guys feel not comfortable or what, feel free to wear your mask. Keep your distance. According to what you guys feel like. So, but obviously, it's like just follow the standard precaution. Don't laugh, only. So yeah. Okay, so hope we can run quick up so we can start right. So enough for today. And okay, Wi-Fi already got it. So we're gonna suppose that at some point we haven't late, so it's fine. So we have one first speaker by Shankar. So we're gonna talk about getting our Javascript stack on Tawk.to. So we are pretty lucky to get that speaker from Tawk.to. So we have like the exciting stuff and I can talk asking about a lot of questions how they managing it. And also the key tips is how they manage to keep the cost very low. So you can ask him later how and everything and you can share a lot of stuff. And after that I'm going to take a quick 10 minutes. Being an organizer also means you can be your own speaker anytime you want, right? So usually last time used to be that, used to be Buzzcorner, but I don't have enough time to compile all the Buzzcorner. So yes, I try to do a few of it and going to talk about a few other stuff there. And then as all the last speaker for the day. This is Mārtiņš. She's going to talk about Iterate of your generator. So this lead backend developer as well. So feel free to ask a lot of questions and drill them. So if you don't know about Tawk.to, there's a lot of stuff, exciting stuff that we're doing. So you can Google it now to find out what you're doing as well. Not too late yet. And 9 PM is goodbye, but I think pizza is going to be late. So we have a delay with that. So you understand chaos traffic, right? So yeah. So okay, we're going to get it pizza around 8:30 something. Let's see how it goes, how hungry you guys are, and let us know. So if you want to get a pizza, grab it quickly. I will try to get it between the breaks. Alright? I know I'm hungry too. So yeah. And next, I'm going to give you as well. So this is the one like you talked to me. I was also talking about NodeJS and everything. So learning a NodeJS and everything. So I have a quick few seconds to it. So yeah, quickly.
Okay, so we'll do that. I thought you were going to. Okay, this is a quick like 3-page slides, which I used to teach my friend about for doing a 3-page slides. Just a show of hand. I invited quite a lot of people. Thank you, Tevan, for hosting us today at Zandi, and thank you Tawk.to for sponsoring our food and also our speakers. And actually, what I'm trying to do is trying to revive the NodeJS community in Malaysia. Hopefully, it will becoming more lively and so that we can learn from each other. Just a show of hand, who came here from the KLJS group? KLJS, alright. Who came from the JOMWEB group? JOMWEB group, alright. And who came from the NodeJS Malaysia group? And the rest came from which group? Alright, meaning the words is spreading around, which is good. Okay, just a little bit background, just to share some of the things that are happening around Malaysia and things that I do, hopefully to get your participation and involvement as well. Every year we do this event called JOM Launch. We just had one last year in October in World Center Kuala Lumpur, basically gathering any kind of tech professionals in Malaysia from public and also private sector. So the next one is happening in October, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Okay. And also I would like to tell that in the last job launch we had one of our sponsors, one of our exhibitors was Cloud Native Computing Foundation, CNCF, which is kind of like a subsidiary foundation and the Linux Foundation, in which we have become the authorized training partner, where we have certifications and training when it comes to Linux, Kubernetes, and also NodeJS. So if any of you guys are interested in that, feel free. I guess that's it then. Steven, over back to you, okay? Alright, thank you very much. Thank you guys for coming.
Okay, thank you. Actually, I forgot to mention very important thing, the sponsors. So, Todd is the one that's sponsoring the food, and also food and speaker and everything, all that today. For the venue, Zaid is sponsoring the venue. So, yeah, so you guys, this space is belong to Zaid. If you don't know about Zaid, I'll probably touch up a bit on it later on, explain about it. So, but first, we're going to invite the speaker. Shit, it is so annoying, but yeah. So basically, Shankar is the CTO of Tawk.to. He will talk about the tech stack and the JavaScript we use in Tawk. And you also probably wondering how they are managing the cost very low and how they're doing local and all that. Yeah, feel free to ask a lot of questions and see how you can take out from this talk. So yeah, come on, Shankar. So you're sharing about all the work. And thank you for having us.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Shankar. I'm here today to talk about JavaScript stack at Tawk.to and a bit more beyond just JavaScript. Show of hands who have used Tawk.to here before. Alright, that's a good turn up. So without further ado, let me get started with introduction. So Tawk.to is a business messaging platform. It's free to use. We have over 4 million businesses all over the world using Tawk.to. Our mission is to empower businesses to communicate and transact with customers. One of our core belief system is equal access to opportunity. So it doesn't matter whether you're from Kuala Lumpur or from Silicon Valley, you should have access to the tools that drive you to success. As one of the limiting factors is that not everybody could afford these tools. So that's why we believe we're making a difference. So some of the key features we offer is lifestyle ticketing. We also recently launched a full-blown CRM that you can segment and drive more value of the communication that you have with your customers. We also have agent chat, group chats and messages so that you can communicate with your team within Tawk.to itself, which is part of workflow for our agents. Yeah, but besides this, all right. The role of tech in Tawk.to is quite significant, so that we can deliver our product to our customers. One of the core things we care about is high scalability and high availability. We have peaks that reach about 750 sessions. That is during normal times, but Black Fridays, we can expect almost double. So we need to prepare for those things. Also, it is highly available. We have businesses all over the world using Tawk.to. So even simple maintenance, probably need to change the wheel while the car is moving. So that's our, but it's what it was. So Tawk.to started in 2012. That's when we started development. We released it in 2013. Back then, NodeJS was 0.12. So part of the reason we picked NodeJS was that our workflow is very IO bound. Most of the time, we are talking to a database, some kind of API or messaging queue, and it's not very computationally expensive. So Node.js handles concurrency better. We also had a very, very good ecosystem. Nowadays, most of the clients, database clients, or even API clients, one of the first-class citizens are Node.js clients, and so that enables us to get to market faster. We don't need to build something from ground up or other way to get it working. And most developers have worked with JavaScript at some point of their life. Even, in fact, during our interviews, we focus more on the developer's understanding of the data structure, programming problems rather than the language itself, because language can be picked up, but a good developer is important. So that kind of widens the candidate pool that we get. Also, we have been running Node for 10 years from the beginning until now. So we have built core competency around Node.js. So we have encountered the most of the problems. We have solved bugs in the drivers. We have issues that normally that does not pop up in projects. Sort of problem for us. So because of that, we are still dealing with JavaScript because we have operational experience. Where we use JavaScript in our stack, almost everywhere. We have about 95% of our code is running on JavaScript. Front-end single-page application, our dashboard is completely built on JavaScript. Our widget is completely built in JavaScript. Our desktop app is wrapped around Electron, so it's also using JavaScript. All our backend services, most of our backend services are running microservices. We use it for event processing, almost anything. So for front-end specifically, there are common challenges. As I mentioned before, the widget itself is infected by visitors, like 3 billion visitors. The dashboard at concurrency, at peak concurrency, it's being used by about 150,000 agents that answer chats on behalf of businesses. Because of that, we invest a lot in our front ends to allow users to access the app without quickly and on a low bandwidth situations and variety of content. Our current front end stack is Vue.js, TypeScript. Our dashboard was originally built on Ember.js, so now we are migrating. We use Weekday or Webpack for building and Nuxt.js for server-side rendering, SAS, CSS, and Electron. So this is our dashboard. So this is currently running in a hybrid mode between Ember and Vue.js. So the application itself is very large. So instead of we are applying a straggler pattern, any new product comes out Vue. So we have built a layer to communicate between Ember and Vue. This is our widget. So this has been recently also been redesigned. One of the core problems where we were trying to fix was that this is all built first pixel time. Nowadays, more mobile users start using application, so there's a low bandwidth. So first thing we did is modernize all our application. So code that is not presented in the view is only downloaded later. But that also introduced latency problem. We overcome it by using HTTP2 pipelining. And so once the connection is open, then we can fetch more resources instead of making a HTTP round trip. This is our KB product. So this one is using hybrid server-side rendering, client-side rendering. We mainly use server-side rendering for initial load and also or ease of crawls, speed. Also, we do once the application is loaded, the state is saved, and then from that point onwards, it's all client-side rendering. Right. So now we can move on to backend technologies. So to present the problem or the scale problem that we have some numbers that we have about, as I mentioned, about 750,000 concurrent sessions, 6 million chats every day, 30 million contacts that is created on behalf of businesses, and we have about 8 million KB views. Backend stack, mostly Node.js. We have Rustify. It's not very well-known framework, but it's not. And we use most of our microservices that expose HTTP-like API, Rustify, most of the server-side run or client-facing Express. Our primary data store is MongoDB. We've also been using that for quite some time from version 2.0, almost 10 years. Elasticsearch as well. All these new technologies actually started about the time I Tawk.to also was started. We use Elasticsearch mostly for stack search, reverse document lookup. So we know if you want to use traditional database like even MongoDB, they use binary tree indexes. So you only can optimize for certain read path. But when you want to filter documents or filter conversation or filter something, you really want to filter by filter option. So Elasticsearch, like our read, we also use it for analytics aggregation. Redis, we use it. Redis pops up to inter-service communication. We also use Redis for in-memory store, for caching. logs. Kafka and Google PubSub is our big pipeline. Build the server around our application, so we mark application and Google PubSub. That being said, so I'd like to touch upon a bit on system architecture. So when Tawk.to started, it actually started as a monolithic, but soon after we realized that we need to scale a different part of the application differently. Typically, like the widget was receiving too many requests. And some other part of the application was not doing as much, so we need to scale independently. So the first step, we didn't actually go to microservices, as microservices came later down the line, but we did more of a distributed monolith. We had a single source of code, but the codes crisscrossed our services. It was a mistake because it became more complicated over time to manage code. The more people involved in the change, stuff started breaking. So that's when we migrated to implement microservices. So we implemented domain-driven, so we microservices. So our product is broken up into smaller domains, and each domain has one or many processes. Application posting. So this also allowed us to scale the team beside the system. Microservices is not only a way to organize your code and application, but it also a way to organize the organization. It really requires both ends. If you don't have the right organization for microservice, it will fail. If you have monolithic application and a lot of team members, then it's part of the reason domain-driven microservices. We also about 4 or 5 years ago, we started doing more event-driven architecture. One of the key reasons we started doing that, we want to decouple applications from making point-to-point connection. It increased our error rates, decreased our error rate, impact of errors. If one database is being overwhelmed and the processing of data within the database can be slowed down, but it does not bring down the entire system, or you have this smash of services that you cannot trace because one service is calling another service is calling another service. The entire stack also increases. We are currently doing point-to-point between domains, either through a synchronous way or synchronous way. We try to do as much as possible asynchronously. That allows our services to go down and recover when they come back up rather than failures that the client sees. But it also comes with its own problem with eventual persistence because data needs to travel from one domain to another domain. We deal with that by building latency-aware clients. So the application itself is built to understand there will be latency, like there will be eventual persistency of the data. Some of the challenges for maintainability as a team grew. We need a solution that beyond we found a lot of business logic was sitting inside controllers. And there's not a single place that you can understand business logic. We were reading more code than we actually writing code because we were trying to figure out this and that. And so we started adapting layered architecture, clean code, domain-driven architecture, so that we could separate our business logic from our application logic. And the other problem we also faced is domain event generation. So let's say if an account has been created and then you need a bunch of the chicken and egg problem. You can save the database and publish an event, but only one can succeed, another one could fail, and you don't have guarantees once. So we tackle this by using MongoDB change stream. MongoDB change stream, every operation you write, it generates oplog, and that oplog can be streamed in MongoDB. We're starting from version 3.6. They started exposing it with the proper API. Previously, you did a lot of manual work. So when you write a change now, you get an event saying what changed, what object changed, what kind of changes was. So that kind of has simplified a lot of problems that we're having. So finally, maintaining low cost. Because we have free product, we need to be cost effective. So by these modern technologies, is reporting the concept, it seems to be more resource intensive. For example, if you run microservices, your database. Traditionally, we had like one database that hosted everything. Now we are separating full microservice in one database. But then some of them some of them are not big database that requires more resources. So the way that we tackled it is that by co-locating databases, a single piece. Also, we optimize it for if you say you want to split the database once the usage of it grows. All we do is that, let's say there's an A and B replica set, we add, and we want to move on B, we add more instances so data can be created to set up group, and then we can move all the old ones. And this way we will achieve zero downtime migration. The other way to save cost as well is auto-scaling. Auto-scaling, GCP has this, we are hosted with GCP. Auto-scaling scales the application based on CPU usage or any other metrics. You can even set it up to a number of events that's pending processing. So this allows us to use the right amount of resources during the right amount of time. So usually Malaysian morning time around 9 o'clock is our lowest peak. So that's the system will automatically scale down number of instances based on the CPU usage, and then our peak is around midnight Malaysian time. So then we'll scale up automatically. In order to achieve that, we actually implemented some core features within the application, like properly implementing culture. So when the instances scale up or scale down, they don't actually disrupt the user experience, but they still be able to scale down. Also, we use a lot of GCP preemptible instances. GCP preemptible instances are similar to Spot instances in AWS, but they are 30% of the original price of the instance. So, by again architecting around our application and proper handovers and shutdown sequences, and using a lot of asynchronous operations, we basically run at 70% cost reduction because we able to scale down the application, and as well as without seeing the impact, especially for background processing, analytics. All this can be done. And that's all for now. And thank you for listening. And we are hiring shameless plug. And salary in USD, right? Salary. We match the market. The market in US. So the thing is that what salary is about value exchange, right? There's no problem paying US price if the equal amount of value was exchanged. That's how we take. I open the floor for any questions. We prototype using serverless compute because it gets fast up and running. If you're receiving millions of requests, and yes, there's who is benefiting from cost or economy of scale is the hosting company, right? Not us, because the same instance probably could serve 1,000 requests or 2,000 requests or whatever, but because we've been charged per request and at scale, it's easy to get on. So that's why we prototype. Right? Instead of building up a server, deploying infrastructure, prototyping is always singular with the cloudless function, serverless databases. So yeah, you don't use production for prototyping. We use about 20 strong. Recommendation: brush up basic programming problems. Data structure is very important. Solid principles. We really depend on solid principles because most of the time, like I said previously, we're reading code, and if the code is not written and it is all over the place, it takes a problem that needs to be solved within like 2 hours takes 2 days because code maintainability was not a core consideration when the code is done. Everybody could develop a code, but change is a constant thing, and if you're not ready for change, then okay. Yeah.
So the text doesn't sound like but from what I remember, outcome, the cost reduction sounds like magic.
Very hard question. Because lack of context, you have something I don't have. Sorry?
Google Grid.
There's one more tip for GCP. You can get a 3-year commitment. I think it's similar to AWS as well. 3-year commitment, 1-year commitment that reduces the cost.
Yeah.
Repeat the question. What else we can?
Some other factors. We are not something if.
I'm trying to dig deeper into the things that are beyond the tech. It could be the team, could be the dynamic between the management, the vision, the team composition.
So from management side, CEO Robert, is pretty much just us with what we want to do. So that with great power comes great responsibility. So we gain confidence by trying to validate why we think this is a good solution. So being able to trust us, that also empowers us to go and do the right thing instead of trying to say how we can do it. And it also puts a responsibility as a software developer, as an architect, right, to optimize for business. And we also resonate in starting to divide into teams. We previously divided into vertically, horizontally, so front end, back end, UI, product, and we were working on every part of the application. That made sure that we understood, that every person understood what's going on for the application, but it also kind of a negative impact, as in we are spread thin because every day is a different problem, every initiative is a different problem. So we are starting to divide the teams by product so that we can gain momentum and speed. So why not context switching?
Any more questions, guys? I think so. How many questions we have? 1, 2, 3. Okay. I think you can catch up later. I have to do the pizza as well. So just to make it fast. Actually, can I go first?
Sure.
Go
It's
ahead.
a very simple question. So you made 95% JS. What's the other 5%? Dash.
So if you consider that,
Okay, then it's more.
Java. So we use a few state-based programs to manage states of applications like calls and everything using Apache Flink.
Okay. I found a second mic, so it's much easier now. So you want to go next? Yeah. Just be loud. So the question is, are you using something related to Express.js? Right?
No, yes. Right now, no. We're using just Express and Restify, but we are in the process of migrating to.
I think this guy had a question first. Let me go first. Okay. So the question is, how do you maintain the security of the code?
Okay. The standard way you have API. SSH access. You are talking about in the developer machine or the cloud? In the developer machine. To be honest, we gave out the code, but then we also don't give access to everything to everyone. And as you need it, you give access, and then when you don't need it, you remove access. Yes. So we have our DevOps engineer. So the code deployment is not done by the developer. It's either done through automated systems or we have developers defined. So we reduce the people that have access to production system, and we use cloud functions like cloud logging to get insights from our application so that not can have access to production systems.
Okay, I think it's probably more in depth, but we can take after the talk. Yeah, last question.
If you have start to get something now, what language you and what?
I will probably still go with monolith. Layered architecture, microservices has so much overhead.
Yeah, we have a fan here.
But it's based on the need. There is no need for such a complex system. If your application is not big, there's not there's two developers working on it. You're not going to have much of a clash between two developers. It's based on the situation. Right? Because choosing the wrong tool can actually set you back. Right? JS, maybe I'll go because same concurrency problems. Rust is new as well.
Yeah, Rust is picking up as well recently. So you might do a Rust beta as well. So if you know, I'm sure there's a Rust beta as well. So that's where it goes. And I don't know. I think that's the last question. Right? So thank you so much, Shankar. So you guys can catch up again. I think behind that, we're probably going to see you very much. But we can catch up with you later on. I think it's slide will be shared as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So don't worry, you can't see behind that. We apologize for that. But yeah, we will share a slide as well later on. To the meetup, we just send an email later on after the meetup tonight. So don't worry much, but you can catch up. If you have any questions, you can catch up later on. He's just on the side. That is a good way and good use at it, probably a few minutes. So yeah. So you may want to take over. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the organizing.
So we have one more speaker, but before that, I'm going to hijack because so organizer, you have the time for that, right? But I've also been asked to talk about the ideas. One, since they are one of the new sponsors and sponsors for this tonight, and the aircon as well. Finally, got aircon, so apologize for the delay for that as well. So if you don't know what it is, it's basically a payment gateway and also like many other things related to fintech, based in Indonesia. But now Indonesia is Philippines, but now expanding to KL, and they recently launched in KL as well. So if you're not aware, so you can straight away look at it. It's the new sub-game payment gateway. So it's also a unicorn base, and if you're interested, sign up to the sandbox. Immediately you can sign up, and the sandbox is really available. If you want to like sign up as a merchant, within 1 week should get approved and everything. So currently the one that is available is money in and money out, and so and I think other payment stuff as well available, so you can check it out. If not, ask the orange guy shirt over there is from Blended, and the blue color shirt who's pointing out is from Blended as well. So and Nandron as well. He's sitting as the audience, but he's from Blended, so you can ask him as well. You went back? Okay, shit. Okay, too bad. You can. Yeah, fine. Okay, basically, you can go check it out the Blended.co website as well. So and moving on to the program. So what's going on with latest with KLJS? I think there's a lot going on. So the last event we COVID like 2 years, we didn't do much. Some of it's online and all that. And finally we had one in September last year. September, and then like now we have a second meetup for this year. I mean the first meetup for the year actually. So we actually skipped February big delay. We try to have more, but we also we need to find more speakers, and also we need to find venues and to sponsor and all that. So if you have speakers and venue to sponsor or what, you can reach out. So we are open to it, see how we can collaborate and how we make it work. Without the sponsor be kind of do much anyway, right? And especially without speakers. You need more speakers, right, Oli? Yes. Please give a thought, submit a thought, please. Having said that, right? And I also need to talk about a bit of like what we have like a bit dev measure. This is a literally dev website, but change it to dev measure. So what you can do here is all the meetups going to be like we're going to base it here. And if you want to get involved, be part of us, just go there, click the button, submit. Basically, what here means is like as a speaker, as a sponsor, as a volunteer, as an organizer. You want to be an organizer like us, figuring out how, testing out everything, like last minute everything, aircon didn't work and all that. Please help us, come and join us, we will guide you. You probably get a lot of experience and learning experience for this. And second, we also have, if you're laid off and you're looking to get hired, please reach out. A lot of people reach out to me during the last 1 year. Like, I think a lot of people was laid off, and some of them was like let go and all that. They reach out. So if you're one of them or you know anyone, ask them to link it up. We probably can link it up to someone who's actually hiring and probably want to get hired for you guys. So that's something we do. We don't get anything from this, by the way. This is like community based. So just helping each other as a community. And if you're hiring, submit as well, let us know so we can match it as well to anyone. Again, we are not getting paid for this. So we are not recruiting everything, we just let's see how it works for all of you guys. Just helping out. And your data is not shared or sold to anyone. So and also we have a section always called Buzzcorner. If you go to the meetup, Slack channel for engineers.ny, if you're aware, engineers.ny is one of the Slack community for years. One of the OG of the meetup in tech community measure. So that's where we talk about asking what help, getting hired, all that we discuss. These are people that have been in the industry for 20 years and community as well. I think Odin is a part of it. So if you want to reach out to him also, you can reach out to the Slack channel. So if you want, please do so. And one of the stuff is shared there is Buzzcorner. Basically what's going on at people sharing the latest tech and all that. Sometimes you want to plan to use this in a newsletter, so we can reach out to you on a monthly basis. Or we can share it to you we are doing it myself, right? So other than that, if you want to sponsor, shameless part. If you want to sponsor us, venue and food is much better. You prefer not to get money, so you prefer like venue and food. So And also, end of this event, please submit a feedback form. I know there's a lot of shortcoming tonight, but do submit a feedback form so we can learn a lot of stuff. This course I realized is there's a lot of new faces. So how many people came for meetup, tech meetup, KLJS before this? Raise your hand.
Before this.
Before this. See, like only like half of it. I know some people not really, but I don't know their faces. This is the first time you're attending for KLJS. See, half of it is like new. That's what I noticed as well. You have a lot of new faces coming in. So you want to get your view and like what's your feedback, how do you want the event to be and all that. So please submit the feedback form and then so that we can learn as well. If you want to reach out, just go to javleisure.com and then just javleisure.com and all the way to the down bottom. There's a feedback form over there. So that's how you want to get the feedback. And of course, you also have to follow conduct across all the community measures. I don't know about the rest, but most of the stuff that involves me, we actually strictly follow the code of conduct, which is taken from the international tech communities standard as well. Also, no sexual harassment, bike sharing, and all that. Don't laugh about it. I know why you're laughing, but yeah. So moving on, done with that shameless plug. So I'm just going to do a quick one with this, with a intro bus connect stuff. So we have Node 90.8 currently released. We have minor collection of changes. So probably, I realized that some people still using Node 10 by the way. So yeah, I was shocked as well. Now it's 10. And if you want to check this, you can check it out as well. And then there's Mongo 7. So Mongo, that's the new one is coming out as well. So you can check it out. And there's another good article about how Cloudflare built an CO2 for workers they want to use. I read about it, it's pretty cool actually. And it's actually open source. It's called Prospector, so you just do it up, it's there. It's pretty cool and like how you want to use it, but probably need to know about configuration and all that. So you're sort of it. So okay, nothing wrong with checking it out if you're too free. And also we're announcing the TypeScript of 5.0 so any TypeScript. You can see it's only as much as major release as 4.9, but 5.0 actually looks cool anyway, so basically it's just an upgrade. And announcement, as usual, we want speakers and volunteers. If any speakers and want to reach out, just reach out. You can reach out to me anywhere you find me. Actually, you can Google Tevanraj, so Tevanraj. I'm actually on Twitter, not on Facebook. So the reason that I'm like away from on the meetup page and also the website as well, I want to move away. Most of the people want to move away from Facebook. So we are actually not so much on Facebook anymore. Although KLJS started in Facebook, but we are slowly moving away. So hopefully by this year, not anymore on Facebook, fully on the meetup page. And not on Tinder, don't worry. I heard that, but not on Tinder. So yeah, you can create one Tinder app for for tech event, why not, right? Yeah, they should invite you for next one as moderator. And last, the good one part. So who want to do a shout out? Who's hiring? Anyone hiring? Other than that, like, you want to do a shout out, so no one's hiring? Shit, we've tech meetup for a long time. No, yes. Let's call you the CEO. So you don't know about him as CEO. Okay, I'll let him to introduce himself.
Hi everyone, my name is Azrul. I'm from Jewel Digital Ventures. Jewel Digital Ventures is a fully owned subsidiary of PNB. The PNB, some of you might know, some of you might not know, is the pioneer in unit trust investment in Malaysia. I stopped saying the biggest, it is the biggest, but when I say the biggest, people have the complacency mindset. So now I say it's the pioneer because that's our role, to pioneer new investment product for Malaysia. So at JDV, the short name for Jewel, we are tasked to create new innovative products for PNB. In particular, what I find interesting is that this is an opportunity to create massive impact. We are talking big, at least the biggest in Malaysia right now, and we are helping everyone in Malaysia to the lowest in the rural community. So because PNB is known for the entity that helps people invest the smallest amount. So anyway. So we are fully, our stack is fully TypeScript, NodeJS. We are pretty committed to that. But at the same time, we are quite flexible. We have quite a good autonomy in terms of what we want to do. And I think as far as startups are concerned, it's a pretty unique startups where we have the funding but looking for things to do. Sometimes it's the reverse of some other startup. You know exactly what to do and you're looking for funding, but in our case we are looking for new ideas from everyone. So this is, look out for me. Thank you. By the way, the stack that we're looking for, like I said, TypeScript, both for front end and back end, everything. The office is in KL, but I rarely go to the office. We don't really care. As long as we shut up on stand-up, on Slack, so that's fine. So again, that's the unique part of us. We are completely detached, not completely, we have a lot more autonomy against the parents company who are super rigid.
We all know how things work in JLC, right? So yes, that's why you need to separate, where you have more freedom to do whatever you want and succeed. Okay. Anyone hurry anymore? Going once? Yeah, it's free. Come in front. You're shy.
Hello guys, I'm Edmund from Meranti. We are also a GLC. We are an agency under Ministry of Science and Technology, mandated by the government to accelerate commercialization of technology. So for example, like many of our universities, they are doing a lot of research. Like many of these research are not commercialized, thereby a lot of the money that the government puts into all these researchers doesn't come back in return to the country. So Meranti is tasked to accelerate this in the universities and also private research, like private sectors. So I am looking for developers for front end in Vue.js and also with TypeScript. So we are moving from a very old system that uses jQuery into a new system. If you all would like to join Meranti, you can look me up after this.
Thank you so much.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone else? You're so far away. Can I trouble you to come in front? Thank you so much. So, meanwhile, I'm gonna just quick. Second speaker is about talking about generators, and he was going to talk about generators. He also from Tawk.to, but he's the lead engineer, front engineer at Tawk.to. Yeah, you can plug it up. Yeah, be free. And the pizza is here actually, but we're gonna eat after this. We're gonna prepare it first.
I think some of you might know me, probably.
Yes.
So, yeah, what is it? Yes. I work in service market. My position, what am I? DevOps. So, we're hiring. We're looking for senior software engineer and also software engineering manager. Yeah, we need managers. Any managers? Go ahead. Join us. So we work from Monday to Thursday. Friday, play game. Actually, pretend to, probably. Your manager, your boss will not disturb you after 6 p.m. All those perks that you can imagine. You know, the work-life balance or whatever it is. Salary 4 to 5 figures, I don't know. Ask HR, depending on your interview performance. Our office is just beside here.
Yeah, we're still there.
So yeah, join us.
Thank you. Service Market is actually nearby us, just across the building. They're actually known for very good DevOps and one of the leading ones, to be honest. Yeah, feel free to talk to him. And I think they pay really well in this climate as well. So we're going to invite the second speaker. So Mārtiņš going to take it away. Just is preparing that slide. And after this, I'm going to prepare the pizza. So it's after the talk, straight away you guys go and eat and mingle. So take your time. We know we started late, so we'll have around a few minutes or 30 minutes just mingle around and talk around. And yeah, go ahead.
So hello everybody. My name is Mārtiņš. I'm the lead backend engineer at Tawk.to. And today I'm going to be talking to you a bit about iteration and generator, or as I call it, iterate your generator. So to start off with a bit of history. So at the birth of NodeJS, we didn't really have much in terms of tooling on iteration. We had a couple of basics. We had our for loop, we had our for in loop. Talking more specifically of collection iteration, while loops, that was still there. But at this point, Node.js releases and supports ECMAScript 3, which at the time was the latest and the most supported ECMAScript version. We don't yet have even basic things that we take for basic right now as prototype, array prototype map, or array prototype for each. With ECMAScript 5, we got some new tools, that being array map, array for each, all the things that we know and love about array prototype. And the main thing that we got is the iterator symbol and a for of loop. So the difference between for of and for in is that for in will iterate all the properties of an object. For of is a lot simpler. It simply it will iterate over anything that is iterable. And so, what is an iterable? An iterable object is defined as something that has symbol iterator property, which is basically a factory for your iterator. An iterator can be basically described like your database cursor. So an iterable may be you can think of it like a database table, and you open a cursor to iterate over your entire database table. And then your iteration result would be similar to, you call next on your cursor, and in this case you have two properties, value and done, and on the side you can see there some TypeScript definitions for you. Now demo gods help me, because we have some code. So how does this look like in your code? So here we have a basic example of an iterable class. Let's call it number range. So as we can see in our constructor, we define our start and our end, and then we have our iterator. So we basically snapshot our values where we are right now. So iterator is a factory function. So every time you call it, you will get a new cursor, so to say. So you can snapshot your values here, and then we return a single function next that when called will basically increment our value or complete the iteration. So if I now go and run this, pull up the console, that makes it so small. So now we've defined our class. So now we have our number range. If we step in, so what we're doing is basically defining our start and end, and now we've gotten our iterator. Once we call our factory function, this is where we can do snapshotting things and before we even get to returning. So once we have that, now we're ready to go, right? So at this point, we call next. Don't mind that. So we basically iterate over, as you can see in the output console, we're just going through 1 through 5, and you don't have to. So on your last iteration, you don't return a value. You just return that this code is done. At which point you terminate the process, and we're done with our iteration. So, what makes the for all loop so special? The thing is that it works on anything that's iterable, and anything that has simple iterator is iterable. So you have your things like strings, maps, arrays, sets, and like we saw just now, you can roll your own iterable class. So now let's go back to our code. So we have this bit of code. Demo gods are not kind to me today. So we can redo this entire thing as a for all loop, since managing this entire iteration by hand can be very cumbersome. So to do that, so we still define our range, except we no longer need to manage our iterator. If we want to, we can still manage our iterator and pass our iterator to for all. So let me really quick update this example. So now we've done away with all of this complexity, and now if we execute this, you'll see that the same thing happens inside our number range. We still snapshot our values, and we still do the same iteration, except now the for all loop is handling our iterator for us. So we don't need to worry about managing it. Is it done? Do we have something more? We can just easily get our values out from it. So again, we just go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We claim that we're done, and for all loop terminates, and we're done. But ready iterators can be error-prone, right? You have next, you have to manage, are you done yet? You have to do iteration or something. So say hi to the generator, which basically helps us with all of that. So the generator itself, it's just some syntactic sugar on top of the iterables that we just saw. So they're denoted by an asterisk. after the function definition, and we have a special keyword yield, which works similar to return, except where yield differs is that we're yielding the current value or the next value of this iteration. So where from a standard function you would return, from a generated function you yield your individual element. So I'll just skip ahead a bit because the demo gods are not kind. So we can rewrite our number range to be a generator function that will do basically the same thing for us, except now if you see, we don't really have any state that we need to maintain. If you saw previously, we did snapshotting. If I go back to this example here. So previously, we need to snapshot our state because here we can't really do that. And right now, what we can do, if we use a generator function, we can simply do a for loop. This could be your internal elements. This could be whatever you may want to generate from your function. But there's nothing that says that we have to use the symbol iterator. Because what symbol iterator does is it tells the JavaScript engine that this object is directly iterable. So if you define a symbol iterator on a plain old JavaScript object, what you'll be able to do is you will be able to just plug that object into for of loop and get your iterator called, and that's basically how the for of loop knows where to get the elements from. It's from this symbol iterator factory. What we find is that generator functions are great. They're just a means of creating iterators. I'm getting a bit ahead of myself there. So what we could do here is, instead of having it be a class, because with for of, you don't have the chance to provide any arguments. What we can do here, instead of it being a simple iterator, let's just rewrite this as a standalone function. So what we can do, so now as you can see, we define a generator function with a couple of parameters. And for of doesn't necessarily need to take an object that has simple iterator defined for it. We can get our iterator and then simply provide it to for of loop to do our iteration. So if we then again run this, we'll see the exact same behavior. We call our function, we define our number, and we simply go through and generate our numbers. And as you can see, it's still 1, 2, 3, 4. And so all's well and good if we're dealing with synchronous code and counting to 5, right? So with ECMAScript 2017, we got this new fancy thing called async and await, which helped us greatly simplify our asynchronous code. Because even before async and await, we had promises, but we didn't really have convenient ways of managing promises. Maybe with a show of hands, who has ever written a callback reference counting function to know when all of your iteration is done? Yeah, you know the pain. So many have resorted to using things like async or Bluebird just so we could, let's say, run an asynchronous function for every single element of the array. Now, we have with ECMAScript 2017 this ability to do asynchronous iterable. So there's very few differences between the two flavors. So for synchronous, you have the simple iterator, and for the asynchronous, you have the async iterator. Your next would either return a value or it would return a promise with those same values. And instead of for of, we use a for await of loop. So here I have a bit of an example. So here we have defined a basic function to process a number by multiplying it, just to give us some asynchronous behavior, and we're dealing with promise. We will also be generating our numbers asynchronously, just so here you can think I'm getting my entry from a database, right? And this is our generator function. So we're defining our start and our end, and we're just saying for every single element, I want to asynchronously get my value, let's say, from the database. And then once we put it all together, so the notable thing here is the yield. And in this case, me personally, I like to await my promises. I don't know how about you, but that's me. So now when we put it all together, again, we're defining our start and our end. And as you can see, the for loop doesn't look much different. All you have is this await here, just indicating that this is an asynchronous generator. And here we're processing asynchronously as well. There's nothing saying that you need to process asynchronously. It may just be that your values are coming from the database, or it may be an input stream that you're reading. And yeah, so let's see this one in action. So again, we define our start and our end. And once we get to generation, we are basically iterating. We return our promise and console that. So there is a problem with this version of Node that I'm using, that it doesn't like to step into the result. But as you can see, we can await our process, we can push to our results, and if you see at the bottom, we're still printing 2, 4, 6, and 8. And one place where this comes in truly handy is we have very large databases. And for very large databases, knowing what to migrate may mean a very expensive query over terabytes of data. So that's not usually the approach that we take. What we take is an approach where we just would scan the entire MongoDB collection or Elasticsearch index, just starting from the first ID all the way up to the last. So in this case, we would use a generator just to retrieve a page after page of our records. So let's say our batch size would be 1,000. We fetch 1,000 records, starting from a zeroed out MongoDB ID. We sort by ID, and the last ID that we get, that's where we start from. And we can simply paginate through a lot of data quite quickly. And then we simply yield the records that we're interested in migrating, because for some cases you may have nothing to migrate at all, right? Let's say you're adding a field that you started setting in your code, you deployed your code first, right? So for some records, the field may be already there, but you need to backfill it, right? So we only yield the records that we're interested in. If you wanted to add batching, it's actually fairly simple to do. If you want to process in batches, you would fetch your page and yield your page. And if you want some basic concurrency control, which is something that we commonly use, what you can do is you can push your promises into an array, keep track of your batch size. When your batch size is reached, just promise all, await them, settle them, and it's a very easy and very clean way to enforce some basic concurrency control in migrations. So there are a couple of other places that also accept iterators. For Loop is one of them, but you can also destructure an iterator. Array from is a very useful tool if you have an iterator, but you would, for example, need a plain old JavaScript object if you're sending back, let's say, a JSON response. Iterators don't work well with JSON stringify. A spread operator, and you can also use them as constructors for maps. And again, shameless plug number 2, we're hiring. So if you want to
settle them, reject them, do whatever you want with them. Can you cancel a promise that is the await stage inside of the generator that's figured up? So you have like a for loop, it's an asynchronous for loop, and there's the generator that's yielding an await to you in multiple promises.
So you mean cancel it right here?
Yeah, cancel it if there's like a reasonable timeout that you don't have on top of it, or if you want to have, let's say, shutdown signal right there.
So in this case, there's another layer in generators, which is called observables. But what generated function provides for you is that if you break or return from the generator, it's simply going to stop. It's not going to continue past the yield. And if you have a finally, it's going to clean up in your finally if you have a cursor to close or like that. But if you throw an error in this case where you're awaiting, the next iteration of the generator will just not be called.
I hope that answers your questions. Any more questions? Just one last question before you get to the result. Yeah, okay. Let me give the other question. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, it's not wireless.
So when compared to use promise.org, I mean, if you use something like this, it looks much cleaner, much nicer. But if you use promise.org, it will be more. I mean, it doesn't look this nice. But apart from that, is there any other advantage of using this approach?
The advantage of this approach would be when you don't know your overall size. If you have a limited set of input elements, yes, you can simply map and call a function and promise.all. Generators really come to life where you have unbounded data. So, for instance, paginating all of the database that we have, I think we have, what do we have for properties? 200 gigabytes? Yeah. So, paginating all of that in memory is just not feasible. So what the generator gives you is that you can fetch it page by page and still process it as you would in a loop. And inside this loop, you can actually do some level of batching if you want. You can actually accumulate your items and then process them as a batch. So it gives you great freedom in terms of batch size versus batch size, or parameters, I'll call it that way.
Okay, I hope that answers your question. Okay, keep it short.
Okay, can you mention a real world example other than imagination where generators would be really necessary?
If you really want to save some performance on remapping elements in multiple stages, let's say you have an inner layer that gives you a raw database object, you generate them, and then you have another layer on top that, let's say, transforms them a little bit, enriches them a bit, and then passes it on to the next layer. So what would happen in that case is that the iterations go sort of from the inner to outer, one by one. So you avoid the fact that you build up an array, then pass that array along, then build up another array, pass that along, and then build up another array. It's when you need the final array is when the entire iteration chain occurs.
Okay, I hope that answers. And I'm going to close it down because I'm hungry. I'm very hungry. So just want to say thank you so much. No slides anymore. We're done for the day. Thank you to the speakers and the sponsors, Tawk.to and everything. And you're hungry, so go for it. And I think Java is hungry as well. And then Mārtiņš as well. Yeah, just go and approach and talk to them.
That was a piece of the Salasin.10 podcasterium. It is hoped that you have enjoyed it. If you have any issues, please feel free to leave a comment through any of the channels.